For years, 5.56 was my go-to for home defense. It's reliable, proven, and hard to argue against. But recently I've made a switch, one that some people might question. Today I'm talking about 300 Blackout. Is it just another novelty round I have to stock, or is it really worth having? I'm a firm believer in simplicity, and for that reason, I've tried to keep my caliber variance to a minimum. However, the 300 Blackout changed my mind. It's extremely effective in compact platforms and packs a massive punch, all while utilizing the same lower receiver, magazines, and trigger. But is the 300 Blackout truly the best option for home defense? All right, let's do a quick rundown of the firearm. What we have here is the PSA upper. It's an 8-inch upper 300 Blackout, got the M-LOK rail on it. And then as far as the lower, it's an Anderson Arms lower with just your basic mil-spec trigger in it. I have a Huxworks 30 cal can on it. I have a Aimpoint RDO red dot SBA 5 brace. I really like this brace over the SBA 3, just a lot more stable and sturdy. I do have a Law Tactical folder on it, and then I also do have some Magpul furniture on it, grip and their trigger guard. Magpul flip up sights, which are kind of nice to have. So that's just a basic rundown of the firearm. Let's get into why I have this firearm and why I think it is probably my absolute favorite now for home defense. So right off the bat, the whole point of this build was to have a good caliber, a lot of rounds, and actually be able to be compact. So the 300 Blackout in a very short barrel is a very capable round. So I went with a 300 Blackout for that reason. Now I wanted to keep this build very short and compact. My whole thought process behind this gun was compact CQB type weapon that I can throw in a bug out bag, a truck gun, that whole thing. So I wanted a very compact yet quiet and reliable platform. So I did the Law Tactical folder on it. This folder, I do really like it, but what I will say is I did get one of the cheaper options and I wasn't a fan of it. It sticks out too far right here. There's a big gap and it just makes it longer. And for my whole application, I wanted this thing to be short. Like I said, be ready to go in a backpack or anything like that. So I do really recommend and love the Law Tactical folder. There's other options to, as far as braces and stuff like that, but I do like this folder. I think that's a very worthy upgrade. All right, so now that we talked about some of the upgrades I have on this and why I kind of went with this, let's talk about 300 Blackout. So 300 Blackout is a very, very capable round, especially when it's coming out of a short barrel. Not only is it extremely capable, it's a 30 caliber bullet. Typically you're running 220 grain. If you want to run subsonic rounds, it's a little bit heavier, a little slower, but it allows you the opportunity to actually run it suppressed and run it very quiet. Typically I was running AR-15s, 5.56, 223. Those are very fast, not subsonic rounds. And what happens is it just makes it very loud. If you do need to use this in a home defense situation, you have to fire a round off in an enclosed area. If you guys have ever shot enclosed, it is extremely loud. So I was looking for something that I could defend my family with and defend my home and not actually make everybody go deaf if I had to actually discharge my firearm. So with the 300 Blackout in subsonic, you can put a can on it and you can actually shoot it fairly quiet for what you're actually shooting. I was pretty impressed. Even with this can on it, this is a Hux 30 cal can. It's not the most quiet because it is a flow through, but it still is a very quiet round, and it's not going to be nearly as deafening as if you're running it unsuppressed and a supersonic round. So when it comes to subsonic rounds and 300 Blackout, I know some people are like, well, subsonic's not going to do any damage. In my opinion, it's going to do plenty and more than enough for home defense. And also too, since it's a little bit slower, you don't have to worry about penetration as much as you would if you're doing a supersonic round, because supersonic's going so fast, it's just going to penetrate through everything, where this is going to kind of hit, and the kinetic energy behind this round is just going to do a lot of damage, and it's really perfect for home defense. There's a lot of controversy as far as something like this having such a short barrel, how far you can accurately shoot it from. Depending on the round you're running, it's not uncommon for you to be able to shoot this platform accurately, even with an 8-inch barrel at 300 to 400 yards. For my application, that's way more than enough. I don't typically shoot supersonic ammo in it. I typically just run subsonic suppressed, have it as, you know, a bedside gun, and just at the ready. When it comes to home defense firearms, some people think, oh, a Glock's more than enough, which, I mean, to each their own. Whatever you feel comfortable defending your family and home with, more power to you. But this is just my personal opinion. A lot of people do like pistol caliber carbines, 9mm and stuff like that. They have a place, but I don't really care for them as far as a home defense option. I feel like the 300 Blackout is way more capable, has a lot more power, has a lot more energy in that round. So why choose something like this over a 9mm pistol caliber carbine? You're gonna get a lot more energy and velocity out of the 300 Blackout, which means you're just gonna have, in my opinion, more takedown power, a lot more options as far as just in the caliber and the load themselves. If you want to be subsonic, supersonic, all that kind of stuff. I think this is just a much more capable platform. Like I said, that's just my opinion. Run what you want, run what you feel proficient, capable with. But for me personally, this right here is a very solid, capable, just all around very good gun. If you did want to throw this thing in a backpack, like I said, with a folder on here, pull the can off, it's very compact. And also too, if it's a truck gun, this round is very capable for shooting around vehicles and things like that if you ever had to use it in that situation. So I really like this as not necessarily a secondary, but my concealed carry is always on me and something I carry. And if you have a gun like this for a truck gun, then you can always use your handgun to get you back to something like this that's gonna just better your chances of survival and ultimately just get you and your family home safely. So as you can see with the can off and it folded, it's very compact. I mean, this will fit in most backpacks and it's a very slim, easy to carry, easy to kind of pack around with you in a bug out bag or whatever. So like I said, this Law Tactical folder, I really like it. They are kind of pricey. You can find them on sale for about the same price. If you get a good sale, you can get them for the same price as some of the cheaper options. And if you're in the market for a folder, I recommend you do that because, like I said, I have the other version, which actually I'll show you guys. So this is the other version right here of a folder. This is the Sullivan Arms, which it still comes back. And, you know, it's not like it's much different as far as the thickness, but when you look at the quality of the product and how it actually attaches right here, you can see this gap where it doesn't mount flush. This gap adds about 1/2 or maybe 3/4 of an inch of material to it. So I'll put them side by side from the back of the lower to the end of your brace. It adds length to it. And on a build like this where you're trying to keep things compact, so if you look at the Law Tactical right here, it's flush. This whole folding mechanism right here is just flush to the lower, which kind of also makes it a lot more sturdy. Whereas this one has your threads, that it's got a threaded piece that goes into your lower, and then it has the folder. I think this is, don't quote me on it, it's the second or third variant of the Sullivan Arms one. They do have other options, but I think they're pretty close to the Law Tactical. For me personally, go with the Law Tactical. You guys won't be disappointed. This one I have, and it's whatever. It's not like I'm thrilled with it. It also kind of, the retention on it is not that great, whereas the Law Tactical is pretty solid. So definitely can't go wrong with this one. So, but yeah, it's a very compact setup. Got the can off of it. Now, when it comes to cans, if you guys are interested in getting a can, maybe you've never bought one before, I do have a video on this can. This is a very capable can. Like I said earlier, I like to keep things simple, and this is the perfect can for that. I didn't want to have to tune my gun to the can and then tune every other gun that I want to run this on to it. With this can, you can get the muzzle device, put it on, since this can is a 30 caliber can, you can get the muzzle device, put it on your 300 Blackout, put it on your 5.56, and then you just got to throw this on there and you can shoot suppressed, which is a really nice option. Now this can is 3D printed titanium. What that means is it's just all one piece, so you can't take it apart to clean it. You do have to soak it in their suppressor sauce to clean it. It is flow through, so you don't get nearly the amount of gas blowing back in your face, and you don't have to tune your firearm for it. So you do sacrifice a little bit of sound, but like I said, 300 Blackout, subsonic rounds, this thing on it, and I don't think you can go wrong, especially if you do have to use it in your home. So as far as the upgrades go on this gun, I know some of you guys are probably laughing like, hey, your can and your red dot costs way more than the firearm they're on. Yeah, that's true. And there's a reason for that. Like I said, this can, I use it on a lot of different platforms. This red dot, same kind of thing. This PSA was kind of just my first go at the 300 Blackout to see if I really liked it and wanted to run something like that. As far as for a primary home defense weapon, you might want to go with something a little more expensive, but like I said, it all comes down to your budget. Whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you feel like is going to benefit you most. You can use a PSA, reliable, going to get the job done, but to each their own. If you feel a little more comfortable with like a Daniel Defense, BCM, or even like a Sons of Liberty or something, by all means, go for it. And then you have all these parts, you can always throw them on something like that. So that's kind of my thought process with it. I was like, I'll just grab a PSA, try it out, and then I can also use these on my other platforms that I use for home defense. So this is just kind of a budget setup that I wanted to show you guys some cool features you can do to it. Now, as far as my red dot that I have on here, I do have the Aimpoint RDO. I really do like this red dot. This is just how I got it out of the box. Pretty good height out of the box. I like it, very lightweight, great battery life. The only kind of complaint I have, and it's more of a personal thing, whenever I bring it up to look out of it, since it's a round window, I always feel like I want to close my eye to look through it. And I don't know if that's just from shooting with a regular rifle scope, whatever the case may be. But obviously with the red dot, you want to be looking both eyes open, kind of having a full sight picture, seeing what your target is and what's around it. For that reason, I do like more of the square glass better. But like I said, it's just a personal preference, nothing against Aimpoint. This thing's solid, very lightweight, and one of my favorites, except for that reason. In addition to the red dot, I do have the brace on it. If you guys are gonna do a brace, I do recommend the SBA 5 over the 3. The redesign on this is a really solid brace. I definitely like it. I have the 3 right here. I'll show you guys that one. This gets the job done, but the 5 is an improvement. So I really like that one. And then as far as like a sling, I do have a BCM little M-lock adapter here for a QD mount. And I got a QD mount back here. And I just run a Magpul sling that I can't remember which model it is, but you got a QD mount here, pop it in here and here. And you got 2 points of contact and just something in case you needed to throw it over and sling it up. You're covered there. So just kind of a basic budget build, 300 Blackout. Solid for home defense, solid for a truck gun, bug out bag. Now when it comes to bags, I used to always carry bags with molly and patches and stuff like that. With how things are going in today's society, I typically kind of gotten away from that. I carry more of a sleek, just as some call it, the gray man look, just something basic, something that most people aren't going to look at and be like, oh, that dude's tactical and he's got a gun in there. So my whole thought process with all this kind of stuff, blend in and be prepared and be able to have the tools necessary to get myself back home and defend my family. So let me know what you guys think as far as what your home defense weapon is. If you prefer a pistol caliber carbine, or if you prefer something like a 300 Blackout, or maybe just a shotgun. Love to hear what you guys carry, what you guys recommend. And also too, if you guys have any questions, like I always say, feel free to ask. I'm just a dude who likes guns, likes Harleys. If you guys got questions about any of that stuff, more than happy to help you. And until the next one, stay safe.